We are. Here we go. So welcome to a new start for the new year and the first live mindset reset of the new year. So we're trying, these things evolve, things keep evolving, and I'm trying to do something a bit different each time we do this, but the idea is still the same, to hopefully start the week with a positive message and discuss things that through my experience and through something that we all experience, and most of us experience it really. And we're trying a different day as well in the hope to encourage more people to come along to the live ones. So this week I'm going to talk about the 9-to-5ers of the world, and the almost like the side hustlers. I mean, a lot of 9-to-5ers have got other things going on with their lives, and not just hobby-wise, but also trying to get other things off the ground. The 9-to-5ers are people who, and this is the majority of the Western world anyway, at least, and probably other countries as well. I've not been to many, who, let's be honest, here's the drudge. I'm going to be negative at the moment. So you wake up at 6 in the morning, you go and sit in your car or on a train for an hour or two, you get to your desk for 8:45, and then you go through the day. You might be lucky and have a lunch break, and then at 5 or 5:30 or whatever time it is when you're told that you've done enough, because it's time for money, it's not value for money, then you get back in your car or on the train and you go home. It takes you an hour or two, and then you have something to eat, and then you maybe watch some telly, and then you go to bed, and then you wake up at 6 in the morning and you repeat the same process. And there are many people who repeat that same process from Monday to Friday, from the age of 20 to the age of 65, and then that age increases as we get older, or as we're getting older. Our generations are getting older because the pensions are so rubbish. So there's a wonderful cheery thought there's a selling point for the 9-to-5. Now, why am I speaking about this? Well, I'm speaking about it because since 2003 I've been in that particular way of life, and yeah, it becomes quite difficult. And I'm also speaking about it from my own experience anyway, but also because it's becoming quite apparent, especially in light of from the pandemic and everything like that, that a lot of people are reflecting on their lives and wondering if this is really what they want to do. It's sort of based on an old idea of how society should be. And maybe, this is a time of change. And I'm not saying that having it's a good thing to have, but it's also not a good thing. That, as with everything in the world, there are pros and cons to everything. It's a routine that can drag you down, but it's also a routine that is quite safe and comfortable. And we live in a world of money, so we've got to be earning money, and it gives you a regular income. So they'll be talking about that during this, and how I've tried to break out of it. I've also got this little book here, The Tibetan Art of Positive Thinking, and I found some little nuggets in there. So there's a little there's an exercise that you can take away with you, and this will be recorded and put on the Facebook group at the end. And if you're not on the Facebook group, then go to the Facebook group. You can, yeah, anyway. And I'll also be recommending a film to watch, because Mindset Reset and the message that I deliver is and the workshops that I do are based on pop culture and based on, I use films and I use music and I use other arts to help us come to terms with and find balance with our emotions, to get a strength and a sense of emotional freedom and confidence in ourselves. And I use films because I like us to connect to the characters in the film and sort of connect to our own emotions by opening our imaginations. That is where we're going with this. Now, I have some notes written down on here, although I am making a lot of this up as I'm going along. So, but let's get started. What I'm going to do is we'll talk about it. I'm not asking for any interaction in this episode. That's for a future episode coming up, another webinar, open forum, which I'm hoping we'll get a few people coming to for that. But for this, it's a listening 30 minutes or so. Where are we now? I've already wasted nearly 10. You see, this is why, I mean, I just ramble on. This is why things go crazy. Anyway, I'm going to talk about that, and then I'll talk about a few of the workshops that I'm trying to do, and some things that I want to get some traction with, and then that will be it. And you can go away feeling happy and hopefully happy and energized and refocused, and hopefully some idea of where you are emotionally and how you can change your perspective. And we look at things in lots of different ways here at Mindset Reset. So the 9-to-5ers. Now, this is very excuse me, Western thing. I'm just going to read you something first of all from the Tibetan art of positive thinking that I read the other day. And it says in here, in the West, it is considered admirable to work long hours and to achieve status, money, and power. Ambition is admired, and the notion that work takes priority over family, self, or leisure is widely accepted. And this was only, I mean, this isn't an old book by any means. 2003, funnily enough, that's the year I went into the 9-to-5 mentality. But I mean, that is what? That's nearly 20 years. That's 18 years ago, and we're still there. But our model hasn't changed, and it hasn't changed since the Industrial Revolution. This is where it all started. We started this model, and schools prepare you for this model, where you sit at a desk and you pay attention to the manager or the whatever it is, the clerk, and you do your duties, and then when the bell goes, you clock out, and then you go home, and that's it. And that's your day, that's your week, that's your month, that's your year, that's it. And the idea is that you're meant to be happy with that. And while it is beneficial in that it's a regular income and it's reasonably safe. I mean, I used to work for a local authority, and you had to, I mean, your job was pretty safe, unless, I mean, there are, you can have redundancies and everything like that, but usually they will try and find something to get you in. It's quite a safe environment to be in, but safe isn't always good. Safe is also can be mundane anyway. So, and the reason why I chose to talk about this week is because I read something in the Business Insider, which is an American publication, and it was on Twitter. I found it, and according to the Business Insider, 4.5 million people quit their jobs in November alone. Now that's in the US. Now that's quite a lot of people, and I know that the pattern has been the same across the board since the first lockdowns and the pandemic. And the reason for that, I believe, is that people have been given time, not through choice, but they've been given time to reflect on their lives. They've spent time with their families. They've been allowed more free time. They've not been sitting in traffic or on crowded trains for an hour or two each day. And it's given them pause to reflect on their career, their goals, what they want to achieve. And one of the things that this report, this article came out with, was that many workers of those people that quit their jobs, they began to question the validity of their career as an identity. And of course, for years, the model has been, certainly in the UK, and it's probably right for the US as well, that you are identified by the role that you are in your job. Most people, when you meet them for the first time, oh look, let's admit Sherry to the party. Hello there, welcome. I've started, so I'll finish, as Magnusson, was it him? Yeah, that's what he used to say. So I'm talking about 9-to-5ers. So basically, when you go to a party, do you remember those? Not in the garden, obviously, cheese and wine, that's all. When you, wasn't a party. When you go there, you meet somebody you've not seen for the first time. One of the first questions that is asked to you is, what do you do? And it's interesting because whenever I've told people what I do, I mean, I'm not speaking for everybody, but it's not that interesting, really, is it? It's, unless you, I mean, even if you said you were an astronaut, no one could relate to it. If you said that you were a brain surgeon, not many people could relate to it. So saying that you work for local authority, or, I mean, I used to marry people, which I suppose did spark a little conversation, but I mean, literally that would last 5 minutes and then you're finding something else. But I didn't identify myself because I married people. Sounds a bit weird. I married people together. I didn't go out and marry lots of people. I'm not like that. But I was a registrar. So, but I didn't identify myself as registrar. I identified myself as the person that I am when I came home. And I suppose it's having that disconnect. Whereas a lot of people, they don't have that disconnect because of the hours. And I'll read another thing that this book told us. This attitude towards work leads to many problems. Exhaustion, high stress levels and ill health are common. Absenteeism is rife as workers suffer problems ranging from bad backs to emotional breakdowns. Many people feel torn between their families and their work, but many grimly accept that they will see little of their children as they grow up. And many women struggle to manage work alongside raising a family, because obviously women raise families because men aren't allowed to, because they're in the office from 8 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. Of course they are. And it's a funny attitude to have. As I say, our society has been created around it. And the pandemic has forced this idea, I think, of change. Now, it's the people at the moment that are wanting the change, because the employers rather, and I'm referring back to this article from the Business Insider, which was I only read the last couple of days. The employers do not understand why their employees are not rushing back and putting their jobs first. The employers are failing to ensure that staff feel connected and fulfilled. And they're ignoring what employees say is driving them to reassess the relationship with their employers. And it is about reassessing. Now, we've all had the opportunity with everything that's been going on, and I mean, with all the things that people have been through, it has been from 2020 a period of great change in our world and in the way we live our lives and our relationship to other people and our relationship to our families. I mean, some have lost people, some have become disconnected with people because, I mean, the vaccination rows that go on and the disconnect with that and all that sort of thing. So our lives have changed quite fundamentally in the last 2 years to quite a great degree. More so, I mean, that's a forced change in a short period of time. So it has forced us to think differently about certain aspects of our world and of our careers, and to put other things first. Other things start to become more important, like family members, like relationships or career choices or ambitions and goals that you wanted to reach. Now, of course, their argument and their thing would be, well, we are here supporting the economy and you need a job because we need money. We all need money. That's the world we live in. You've got to earn money however you can earn it. And the 9 to 5 is the safest way of doing it. I mean, when I say 9 to 5, obviously hours are different, but it's usually a 37 to 40 hour week is what you're told to get on with. So that is the sort of the thing. I mean, I was in this. Now, I left my full-time employment in the end of September, and I can put my hands up and say that financially it's very painful, and it feels like you're banging your head against a brick wall. To try and get out of this once you're in it is very, very difficult, but it's worth it, because mentally I have felt a lot freer, and I felt a lot more open to different ideas, partly because I've got time to do that, but also partly because I'm open to new opportunities, and I've got the freedom to let my imagination run wild. So it's if you can find a balance, then I think that is almost like the perfect scenario. Find a balance with earning the money you need to earn with something concrete, but also focusing your mind on your ambition and the goals that you want to reach. Never allow your mind to be lost in the mundanity of sitting at a desk for 7 or 8 hours a day, because with the best will in the world, and you know, the job I used to do had some quite a few upsides, but also sitting at a desk staring at a computer screen isn't particularly healthy, and you sort of get into a funk, really. The other thing about it is, and actually let me just expand on that, because you do get into a funk and it's quite demoralizing, but the way around it, because this is mindset reset, so we have to look at it from a positive point of view. The way around it really is to reframe your relationship and refocus what you want to do. Look at actually what you want to get out of it and what it is giving you. So rather than this is what I used to think. I used to think, oh, you know, I'm wasting my time. I'm not doing the things that I really want to do, doing boring old spreadsheets and that sort of thing. Whereas what helped me get out of that was to reframe it, and Amanda helped me with this, in order to say, well, this is what it's actually giving me. It's giving me this income. It's giving me this security. You know, I was able to work on other things while I was there. So there were positives, and it is about how you reframe your mind and adjust your mindset to it. Here at Mindset Reset, we want to see things from a different perspective, and that is the most important thing about this. So it was an interesting article. It's in the Business Insider. Now, I wouldn't recommend that you go to the website. I saw it on Twitter. I went to the website to try and get the article, thinking, oh, I could print it off and maybe show you. But then I had to subscribe, and it wasn't a free, you know, subscription. I had to pay. So I couldn't do that, which was rather disappointing. But hey ho, that is life, isn't it? So where are we now? Now, it's interesting. I was reading the other day also. I do spend a lot of time reading. I found a book in the sale about Charlie Chaplin. Now, Charlie Chaplin is a hero of mine. I've loved his films since I was a child, and I love the fact that they're silent, and the pantomime and the creativity, and his character who's free, and and he's like a sort of spirited fairy, but he fights bullies as well, and whoever the bully is, authority or just a bully in a bar or whatever, he doesn't distinguish between that. He fights the wrongs. And in 1936, Charlie Chaplin released a film called Modern Times, which is basically about mankind against machines. It was in response to the rise of factories. And I've got a thing from his autobiography here, which when he was making the film, and he was stuck for, he had some ideas of scenes in his head, but he was stuck for an actual story. And then he says in here, then I remembered an interview I had had with a bright young reporter on the New York World. Hearing that I was visiting Detroit, he had told me of the factory belt system there, a harrowing story of big industry luring healthy young men off the farms who, after 4 or 5 years at the belt system, became nervous wrecks. Now, that's quite an interesting insight into our system, which the pandemic is forcing other people to think about, because it would appear that the mental health crisis that we're going through because of the system has been going on for an awful long time, 90-something years at least. It's the idea that we're human beings, we're not machines, and we're sort of, when you get lost in a large organization, and I was in a large organization, you do become a number. Even though, I mean, they try not to, you become a number. I know, having left my job at the end of September, that the wheels just kept turning, the cogs kept going. I was irrelevant and forgotten about. By lunchtime, it would have been, oh, what did he do? I can't even remember where did he used to sit? Who knows? And who cares, really? And this is what Chaplin was getting at. One of the scenes, a famous scene in this, is when he, in order to save them from having a lunch break, there's a machine that comes in while they're working on the conveyor belt. There's a machine that comes in that feeds him. And of course, being Chaplin, it turns disastrous and comical. He's sort of, it's about, he was challenging the growth of capitalism and this growth system that we're in, and that hard work equals success. You know, it's staring at a screen for 8 hours a day doesn't, to me, equal success. And it would have been the same in a factory or whatever. There's a lot of jobs that we're doing now that won't be around in 20, 30 or 40 years time. And I think it's great that we are changing, and we're allowing our brains to adapt to a new world, even if at the very top there's a struggle. Everything starts somewhere, and it's just got to bubble up and bubble up. And we see it now with children. I mean, my children watch a lot of videos on YouTube, and they've shown me a lot of videos of how society needs to change, and why is school taught the same way it was taught 100 and 150 years ago? Why is that not changed when technology has moved on leaps and bounds, and yet social structures are stuck in a sort of Victorian idea of how we should do things? Maybe that generation is going to be forcing the change, but we can start. This generation can start it. Any generation can start it. It's just about opening your mind and trying things, exploring things. You can explore things in your head before you make them real. And that's where a decent meditation comes in. So I'm going to run over a little bit, but I just want to finish, nearly finish anyway, by giving you an exercise. Now, of course, this is all about stress, really, and the stress that we face with those sorts of things. And in this Tibetan art of positive thinking, there is a stress ransom ritual, which I found quite interesting. And you can write this down, or you can record it on your phone, or you can watch back the video when I put it on YouTube. But here is an exercise to do, which is a ritual about getting rid of the stress. So here we are. Sit quietly and then picture the stress and unhappiness that you feel. It might be an individual, a situation, or a job, your job as a whole. Concentrate on this and then face it head on in a confrontation and challenge it. Now, ransom the unskillful thought of stress. Literally steal it away in your mind and give it an ultimatum. Let it know that it must release the inner wisdom it is strangling instantly and never trouble you again. Tell it that it can have its life back only if it then disappears and releases its hold on your wisdom. Now, I can post that. I will post it in the Facebook group if you want to use that. It's something similar to what I used to do when I was feeling my confidence was going, or you have that voice of doubt in your head. I remember when I've been doing some acting, you have that voice of doubt saying, oh, you can't remember your lines, you can't do this, you won't be able to do that, you won't be able to do that, you're going to go out on there and you won't be able to do it. But what I challenged it with was the body of evidence that I've built up in my mind, saying, well, I think you'll find that I have done it previously before and it's never been a mistake. And, I think you'll see that last year I did a play and I didn't get a single prompt. So you're challenging these crazy, ridiculous ideas that fall out of your brain at the worst possible time. And that is similar exercise. And it's a very good one to use if you're feeling those stresses and you want to challenge them. Because at Mindset Reset, and I've found through my experience with depression that actually I'm better challenging the darkness than I am using tablets to get rid of it. Because I like to feel whole and balanced. And it doesn't happen every day, it doesn't work every day. But when it doesn't work, I give it the space it wants. But then I give it an ultimatum. So you've got today, but tomorrow we're back to it. And it seems, so far, to be working. Right, we are very nearly there. Sorry if that was a bit loud. So this is about changing perspective. This is about putting the focus on you and what you get out of it. Your health is the most important thing, physically and mentally. Without your mental or physical wellness, then you can't help other people. So it's focusing on yourself first of all. So if you want to watch a film over the next week, then I would recommend heartily, and I don't get any affiliated money for this, Modern Times. It's a silent film. It's Charlie Chaplin's last silent film. It's also the last appearance of the Tramp. In 1936, they were making, it was the last silent film because he was the only one making them. Back in those days, the talkie films started coming out in the 20s, but he couldn't find a voice for the Tramp. So and he tried and couldn't find it. There is speaking and music in it, and there are sound effects, and that's about as far as it goes. And he does sing at the end in some nonsense language that he created, and it's a fitting end to the Tramp. But it's a beautiful film. And it's got some poignant moments, but also it's got a very good message about our society and how we treat our workers and the people that really do support our way of life and the countries that we're in. Now then, next week there will be a recorded video which I will put on Facebook in the Facebook group at 6:30 next Tuesday, because I'll be away, so it'll be pre-recorded. I will be returning the following week on, I wrote the date down here, the 1st of February will be the next live, and I'd like it if you are up for this, to be an open forum. I would like to talk about a film, and I'm thinking Star Wars, and how we can look at our emotions in the storyline, in the characters. I mean, it is very much a hero's journey. It follows that story, dating, the similar storylines to the myths, and they were all about our characteristics and our behaviors and understanding our emotions and the light and the dark, and challenging the darkness with the light and all of that sort of thing. If it's an open forum, that means it will be like question time, and we can talk to each other, and I think that will be quite an interesting experiment. In the meantime, though, please do go to the Facebook group. It's called Mindset Reset. I can invite you to join if we're friends on Facebook. If not, find me on Facebook, and then I'll get you to join up. And in there's snippets during the week as well. And join my email list. I have an email list, and I'm producing a weekly newsletter, as well as you'll get your ticket for Mindset Reset via the email if you haven't already done so. So there we are. I will see you next week, even though, well, you will see me, I won't see you. You'll see me next week. I'll be talking about mirror universes and how that can be a positive effect on our mindset. But I will see you on the 1st of February, I hope. And I'll be looking forward to hearing from you in that session. So there we are. That is Mindset Reset. Thank you for coming. Well done. And I'm stopping the recording right now.